Hello, 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 everyone. It's Camille, Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Welcome, everyone who's hopping on. Make sure you drop a 1 below if you are watching this live. And make sure you drop a 2 if you're catching this on replay. Hope you guys have had a wonderful Wednesday. I did not forget my water on tonight. Hey, Chauncey, what's going on? What's going on, Jessica? Guys, make sure you drop those 1s below. If you're catching this live, drop a 2 below. If you are catching this on replay, what's going on, Will? So we are reading the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and we are on chapter 3. And it's talking about what is success. Hello, everyone who's joining in. Make sure you drop a 1 if you're catching this live. Drop a 2 if you are catching this on replay. And make sure you share this video. We're going to be doing weekly drawings. So it's going to be cash drawings, gift cards, and free health products. Hey, I'm great. I was at church tonight and still here. Okay. Well, focus at church and then catch it later. What's going on? What's going on? So again, we are reading the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. We are on chapter 3. What is success? Thank you guys for dropping those 1s. So again, if you're live, drop 1s. If you're watching this on replay, drop a 2. And if you feel like this will help someone, make sure you share it. And when you share it, you're going to be entered into a drawing for cash prizes, gift cards, and health products. Can I donate you Bitcoin? Donate for what, Dane? Hey, Wilbert. Praise him. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Chapter 3 is talking about what is success. And so, you know, we've heard many different things about the definition of what success is. But Grant really comes from a perspective that success looks like different things, can be defined as different things depending on what stage of life you're in. So let's have some open discussion here, right? When we are children, what is something that we can all say, you know, as a child, I really succeeded? What are some things when you think about being a child, or if you have children, right? What are some things that is like, okay, for a child, this is success right here? Give me some examples. Talk to me, guys. What are some examples of success when we're growing up as a child? I know for me, success was being able to earn money from chores so that I could go buy my bike, right? And I told you guys about the bike that I wanted to buy. And so success was being able to earn money from chores to go and do that. What are some things as a child you can look back on your life and say, this was success for me? Anybody have any successful things as a child? Go ahead and share. Donate for your efforts. Okay, I'm not sure how I would really do that. Let me think about it, Dane, and I'll get back to you. Okay, but as a child, having good grades, yes, Lance, definitely one of the things that we would conclude as success. So just depending on what part of your life you're in, that means that you're going to have a different perspective. You're going to have a different outlook on what success means, right? And so then maybe you get into your teenage years. So what are some things that we saving that allowance for the new toy? Yes, Wilbert. So we get into our teenage years. What are some things as a teenager we're looking like, okay, now this right here, this is success. For me right now, this is success. Maybe it's getting that very first job. I know for me, I felt like when I got my job at Wendy's, like I was doing it. Okay, you couldn't tell me anything. I was at the mall every Friday getting my outfit looking fresh because I had my job at Wendy's. Honey, I had my own Okay. And even before that, I remember taking babysitting classes. I was already babysitting and making money, but then they offered a babysitting course at school for an extracurricular activity. And so I took that so that I could become CPR certified and I can go out there and start my babysitting club, right? So for me, those were some of the things that I looked at as a teen, or maybe it was just getting that cell phone. I know when I asked my parents initially, can I get a cell phone? They were like, no. So when I was actually allowed, I got one and I snuck and got it. But anyway, that's besides the point. When I got one and I was allowed to have it, I felt like, yes, my parents trust me. I got this new phone, right? Driver's license. Yes, yes. Hey, what's going on, Tiana? Graduating. Yeah, so these are all things as teens. Okay, so then we move into our 20s, right? So in your 20s, what are some things that we really look at and say, okay, now this is the level of success that I've reached? Maybe that's graduating from college if you decide to go to college, or getting that first job, your first real job, that salary job where you feel like, is this really my check? Like, did I have all of these numbers behind this comma in my check after getting this job? Like, what are some things that in our 20s we then decide that these are, okay, Tiana, see, I was the junior bacon making queen, honey. I knew how to whip them sandwiches up. Yes. You put your white, your red, your green, your white, your red, your green. See, I even remember how you make those sandwiches at Wendy's, right? Well, count me out, LOL. I'm only 19. It's okay, girl. Some 20-year-olds, right? But just thinking about it, guys. So when we get into our leaving home, right, what are some other things that we find like, okay, this is success. We've hit our 20s, right? And then maybe later on it's then marriage and then having kids. You just bought a brand new car. Woo, 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 right? So that's that thing of feeling like, okay, I'm doing it. Like I've hit another thing that I can say that this is success for me. And so then we get older, right? And maybe we have grandchildren. And we know, if you know anybody who is a grandparent, like the grandchildren just become like the trophies of life. Like, I don't know what happens to people. And I guess I'll never fully understand until I have my own grandchildren. But like something transpires in the mind of people when you have grandchildren. And it's like, who are you? But it becomes the pride and joy to be able to become the grandparent, right? And so it is just whatever stage you are in life, whatever phase you're in, success begins to look at like something different. And so it's just important for you, and this is what Grant is really talking about in the book. It's important for you to understand what your goals are and what success looks like for you at whatever stage you're at in your life. So this goes back to also comparing where you are in your life with somebody else. See, maybe you have two 70-year-olds, right? And one of them had grandchildren, but another one of them didn't. Well, one might consider having grandchildren success, and the other one would not. But you can't look at what the other person has or doesn't have and compare that to what you are defining as success. So that's the importance of being clear in what your goals are and knowing what it is that you want. Girl, you were the cashier only. You were missing out in life. Okay, let me tell you. I could whip those sandwiches out. I would sing to the crowd when we had a big old line coming in. I had a good time at Wendy's. Okay. All right, but so he just says, as you age and conditions change, the ways in which you define success, it's going to transform, right? And so it's always success, and what that looks like is always going to be changing. And that's one thing that we have to keep in mind, is that it's going to look different depending on where you are in your life. I'm there, Jessica. Wait for Camille program. Hi. Hey, David. All right. So Again, where you are in life, the conditions you're facing, the situations, events, and people on which your attention is most focused will influence your definition of success. And success can be found in a number of realms, right? So every time I get on here, I'm like, I hope that you're living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. Those are all different areas in which we should be working on to achieve a level of success, whatever your level of success is. See, because the life that I love may not be the life that you love. I was talking to someone tonight, and she was just like, how did your mission trip go in Puerto Rico? I'm proud of you. And she said, but you know what? You can have that, because I don't want to do all of that traveling. All of that traveling is not for me. But what I do, she works with children and she does it well and they love her, right? And she's very effective at what she does. And that is part of her spiritual growth and how she gives back, right? But for me, working with kids, I love the kids, don't get me wrong, but that's not necessarily what I would consider the life that I love, working with kids all day in and out. Like, she's also like a teacher, right? So she has her calling and I have my calling. And so I don't necessarily look at, like, if I had to work with kids day in and day out, like, I wouldn't look at that as success for me. So we have to know what it is that we want and not get so caught up on looking at what everybody else is doing and comparing our goals to somebody else's goals, right? Okay, so, and not only is success in spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, right? But he goes on to say that it's emotionally. It could be philanthropic. It could be communal. It could be familial. And he says, however, wherever you find it, the most crucial things to know about success in order to have it and keep it are the following. So if you want to have success and keep it, he says these are the three key things, okay? Make sure you see both of my, or not both, but all three of my fingers, right? But he says, success is important. Success is your duty. There is no shortage of success, okay? And so he really only talks about the first point in this chapter, which is success is important, and then he'll talk about the other 2 points later, okay? So here we go. Success and hello everyone. Tavara, that is powerful. Chauncey, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, and emotionally. And so, right, all of those areas we should be identifying, where do we want, what does success look like for us, right? Because society can throw all types of things on us. Right now we are walking around talking about we want to be the power couple, and this is what it looks like, and wearing red bottoms is what the power couple looks like, and what it represents, and all of that, that could be success for someone, but it may not be success for you. And so you can't get stuck in that mindset thinking, okay, well, if I don't have red bottoms and I'm not holding somebody's hand, that I'm not successful, right? So we have to very much keep that in mind. So again, the three things that he says that if you want to have success and keep success, then you need to remember this, that it is important. Success is important. Success is your duty, and that there is no shortage of success. All right. So now he's going to talk about success is important. Okay. And he says, regardless of your culture, your race, your religion, your background, where you come from, who your people are, it doesn't matter. He says most people would agree that success is vital to the well-being of the individual, the family unit, and the group, and certainly to the future survival of all of those things. Okay, because if you have a bunch of people who aren't achieving anything, who aren't setting goals and aren't going after those goals, then what's going to happen is that eventually everybody will die out. Or you won't have any funds, you won't have any money, you won't have any creativity, you won't have any get up and go, which is going to stop the process of expanding your family, of expanding your finances, of expanding yourself mentally, of expanding yourself spiritually. And so he goes on to say that success provides confidence, security, a sense of comfort, the ability to contribute at a greater level, and hope and leadership for others in terms of what is possible. See, we often look at mentors, and when we're younger, people say, well, who do you look up to, right? And this is because these people provide hope for us, and they pave a way, and they give us encouragement and inspire us, and they motivate us to go and be better and to do better and to accomplish more. And so if you're not doing that, then that means that we aren't helping the other people who are watching us, and then it dies down. So we know that if you do the bare minimum, and somebody is watching you as an example, what's going to happen? They're going to do the bare minimum, except for they're going to do even less than what you're doing. And then somebody else is going to come watch them, and they're going to do even less than what they're doing. And then it continues to diminish. And so we can't allow our success to diminish. And so you really have to think about success as expansion. Okay? So when we're thinking about success, it's not just, okay, I made a goal, but it should be thinking about, how do we grow bigger? How do we get to the next level? How, when you reach one level of success, it should be a stepping stone to reach the next level, right? So he says, never reduce success. And so I just began to think about, there was a young girl tonight when we had Bible study, and normally I'm working with the teens, and we had a couple of younger children in my class with me tonight. And she was talking about how when in the beginning, I always allow them to go around and just talk about their day and get whatever stress they have off their chest, or if they want to celebrate something, then I allow them to just talk about, what happened good in their day. And so this young lady in particular was talking about how she went to the STEM program, science, math, technology, all that good stuff, right? And so she was just saying how they had made this science project, and she was really excited about it. And she was saying how it was like a rocket, but it wasn't really a rocket, but it's a smaller version and essentially does the same thing. So if we would have dumbed down that level of success for her, it could be to a point where she's like, okay, well, that's not what I want to do anymore, because nobody looks at that as being great, right? And so then that could deter her from going to be that scientist, from going to go be that doctor, that lawyer, whatever it is that she wants to be. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that at every level of success that we achieve, it is important that you celebrate it, because that is then what becomes the stepping stone of what's going to get you to the next place. And so we have to remember, even when dealing with younger generations, to not discount the level of success that they achieve, because it's easy for us to get caught up in successes where I'm at right now in life. But that may not be the case for people who are younger or people who are older. But we have to celebrate that success, and then think about how celebrating that success is going to help to expand what it is that is going to go forth in their future. So everything that's going on now, the things that we're focused on, you celebrate it. You don't downplay somebody's success or what they feel to be success, because you don't know how that is going to go and expand their future. Leaving church, we will wait. Jessica, you guys are funny. Okay, Jessica, you were supposed to be focused at church. Okay, now, let me see here. He says, think of success in terms of expansion. Without continued growth, any entity, be it a corporation, a dream, or even an entire race, would cease to exist, right? And so we know that. Even I think about a more gloomy example of knowing that if we stop something, then it's going to cease to exist, is like Hitler, right? Hitler knew that if he could kill off the Jews, right? That he would be able to stop a people. And so that was his intention, because he wanted to expand his people and kill off another group. And he knew that if he cut off the supplies and the resources, the money, the food, everything, that they would be at a lower position, right? And so, of course, we don't want to go do that. But what I'm saying is he understood that when you cut off success of a people, that they then diminish. Now, of course, Jews aren't all the way gone, but we know what happened to their culture because of that. Or we can look at examples like Grant gives, and he's like the Vikings, ancient Rome, Greece, communist Russia, right? And an endless list of companies and products that, because they did not have those level of successes, then they went away. They diminished. They're no longer here, right? And so success is needed in order to perpetuate people, places, and things. And this is going back to, why is success important? It's because it perpetuates people, places, and things. When we have a level of success, we feel like we can go on. We keep pushing. We don't stop. We keep going, right? When we feel like we're always losing, then we want to give up. Ultimately, what are we going to do? We're ultimately going to quit. And so this is why success is important. This is why you have to look at your life. This is why you have to set goals once you look at your life and say, okay, this is what I'm going after. And then this is why you have to make sure that your thinking and your actions is 10 times above, so that you can achieve it and you can get to your end goal. And in many cases, if you are putting in 10 times the action that it's going to take, and you're putting in 10 times the thought that it's going to take, then you're going to go above and beyond what it is that you even said that you wanted to accomplish. And that is what's going to continue on for generation after generation after generation. Okay? So now, never reduce. I'm going to say it again. Never reduce success. Okay? Never reduce success. And when you hear someone trying to downplay success, then you need to make sure that you teach them a lesson right then and in that moment, and let them know that it's not okay to downplay success. So I told you about the young lady who went to STEM, and she was excited about the fact that they did a science project that was like an example of how a rocket works, right? So on the flip side, there was a young boy in the class, and he's like, I took my test today. It was kind of like a midterm. He's like, I don't think I did well. I mean, they had stuff on it from last year. He was supposed to remember that, right? And so I began to talk to him and just say, you know what? You should have remembered that, because that's important for you, because you are a winner, because you can retain the knowledge, because you are a learner, because you are great. You have greatness inside of you. You have power inside of you. And so therefore, don't downplay and say, well, I don't know what I got and I don't really care, because you should care. You should care if you're being successful. You should care if you're giving the effort that you need to be giving in order to get the results that you want. You should care. And if you don't care, what's going to happen is whatever it is you're going after is going to diminish. So I want you to think about your goals that you have set. Is it a business goal? Are you really going after your goals like you're supposed to? Are you really putting in the actions like you're supposed to? Is it a family situation? Are you really trying to work that family situation out? What have you put in place to mediate the problems so that your family can function and that you all can go on for generation after generation after generation and not be so dysfunctional, right? Camille, we are, what is AAME thing? I'm not sure what that is, Nana. Okay, so anytime that someone decides, hey, we want to minimize, we want to reduce success, don't let them. You have to teach them and begin to teach them young. Don't, I could have easily said to that young kid, like, hey, you're right. It was last year. How dare they? Right? But instead I'm like, no, you know what? You should have retained that. You should have done something over the summer. to make sure that you could keep that information. Why? Because I want them to be the best that they can absolutely be. I don't want them to settle. I don't want them to get into this place that they're so mediocre and just feel like, okay, well, if the next kid doesn't get it, then I don't have to get it. No, that's not what we're raising. We walk around, we're saying we're kings and we're queens, but kings and queens weren't mediocre. Like, they had special skills and talents and things about them that made them great. What makes you great? OMG, write the vision, make it plain. Yes, Chauncey, same. I think she meant AME. I am still confused. I don't know what I said. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Since I don't know what I said, I can't repeat it. Are we AAME thing? I think she meant AME thing. What? I don't know what y'all are talking about. Okay. So, oh, same, my bad. Okay. But we just can't allow ourselves to get to a place where just getting something that has little worth means nothing, right? So even going to school, like, we can't just get to that place where we just feel like, okay, well, I went to school and that's enough and I'm going to settle in, because what is going to happen is that you will no longer exist, right? So let me give you all another example of that. There's a monkey, right? And in Asia, South America, Africa, there are hunters that will put out traps for these monkeys. And so what they'll do is they'll put this trap out and they'll get a bottle or whatever the contraption is, right? And they'll drill a hole in it just big enough for the monkey to kind of squeeze his hand down into the bottle so that they can get this food or the treat that they have put in there in the trap, okay? So the monkey will come up and they'll do just what the hunters expected them to do, and it's easy for them to go in, put their hand into the bottle, they get the treat. The only problem is once they get the treat, their hand is like in a fist now, right? It's balled up because they have whatever that treasure is in their hand. But now they can't get their hand out the bottle. They're stuck. And that's essentially the trap. And so even though we would think like all you have to do if you want to be unstuck is let it go. Like, it's really not worth you getting caught by this hunter by holding on to this thing that really doesn't mean much. Like, you can go and get so much more somewhere else, but you just want to hold on to this little bit of nothing that is not going to add any true value to your life. And that's how we begin to look at success, because sometimes it's fear. Sometimes we just don't want to put in the effort. So it's like, okay, well, I see a treat right here in this bottle, so I'll just settle for this treat right here in the bottle. But in the meanwhile, we're stuck and we can't get out and we can't have freedom. And these things are coming to entrap us into a life that we don't want. All because we won't let go of this thing of little value, right? And so we have to make sure that in life we say, no, we want success. I don't want to just settle for the little bit that I have and then I get stuck in this life that I don't want and that I don't desire. Like, what are some things that you need to put down so that you can go and have some true success? Because some of us are trapping our own selves in lives that we don't want to live, in lives that we don't love, all because we put our hand down in this trap and now we're stuck. We don't know how, and we're comfortable. We're stuck and comfortable. And so that's why you won't let go of what's in your hand, because you feel like, okay, well, I got it. I got this $10.50 job, so I'm not going nowhere. And they work me 60 hours a week, and they have me on call, and I have to be there anytime they call me. And I don't like my coworkers, but I got it. I got my bills paid. So I got this, right? But we're just as miserable as we want to be. You are trapped. You are stuck. And what is it going to take for you to say, I want freedom. I want to let go. I want to move on. I want to experience something that's so much more than that, right? Open your hand. A lot of us, that's what we need to do. We need to open our hand. We need to let it go. We need to go be able to find what it is that we want in our lives that is going to allow us to really have success. But you have to have some goals. See, some of these animals, these monkeys, their goal was just to get that little bit that was in the trap. And that's what we're doing. We're going after the little bit that's in the trap, and we're finding ourselves in these places that we absolutely hate. And all you have to do is let go if you want to go and find freedom and find your level of success. Yes, you have to aim and have purpose. Okay, so getting back to the book now, because I've gone off on my little story tangent here, but individuals and groups must actively accomplish their goals and targets in order to carry on. If we don't have the goals, if we don't have the targets, we will not carry on. We will be like the monkey who then gets trapped up, right, taken away by the hunter and whatever the hunter is going to do with the monkey. I don't even know what the hunters do with the monkeys. They kill them, right? They eat them. They entrap them to go into zoos, whatever they do with these monkeys. But none of those sound like things that I want. But the thing is that's what happens in our lives, is that we end up dying off. We end up being enslaved, right, to things that we don't want. So he says, if not, they will either cease to exist or be consumed and become part of something else. Companies and industries that wish to maintain their status most successfully create products. Get those products to the market, keep clients, employees, and investors happy, and repeat that cycle over and over and over again. So once you are able to identify how to reach your goal, then you have to continue to do that over and over again. And not only you, but then you have to teach that to people who are coming up watching you as an example. You have a responsibility to teach others that success is important. And not only that it's important, but to show them, be an example. People are watching you, especially if you all have children. They are watching you. If you are around children, they are watching you. They want to know what you're doing. They're watching your every move, and they're going to duplicate what you are doing. So are you creating a duplication system that is going to allow you to have success, you and your family? Or are you creating a dying breed? Yes, back to it. Midnight coming quick. All right. Where are your people? Nana, are you saying, is that a question like, where are my people physically? Or what are you saying with that question? Or based on something that I said? We're almost done, Wilbert. All right, so there are far too many people, or too many cute sayings, he says, that dismiss the importance of success. And he says, like, and of course, this is his opinion, guys, right? All right, but he says success is a journey and not a destination. He says there's too many cute sayings out here that, not so much that I feel like this is a wrong saying. I think that what his point is that it diminishes the importance of success, of just kind of like, oh, well, we'll get there when we get there. When you're thinking about the 10X rule, and that you're putting 10 times more effort and 10 times more thought behind something in order to reach your goal, right? Then he's saying you can't just be like, oh, we're frolicking along, we're just playing, and we're just going and going. He's like, no, you got to put action behind it. You got to get to that one point so that you can get to the next point. So it is a journey, but you can't draw that thing out and just make it like we are on this tourist destination type deal where we're just going to look at everything and read everything that's on a display, right? He's like, no, get in there, figure that thing out, make it happen, and stop playing around with this thing. Like, stop making it like it's not important, like it's not a big deal. He's saying because it is. In the midst of attaining your goals, you have to set a specified, got that out, period of time. You have to have a parameter in reaching goals. Yes, because otherwise you'll just keep going, and you'll keep going, and you'll keep going, and chances are you will never get it because you never set that end date, right? SMART goals, right? Timely, making sure that they're timely. Okay, so it says, it is not enough just to play the game. It is vital that you learn how to win at it, right? We can't just make everything hobbies. Like, okay, well, I'm just out here doing a hobby. He's like, no, figure out how to master that thing. For the past 2 days, we've been talking about we dominate. We make sure that we are here to let people know we're not going anywhere. I'm a force to be reckoned with. And you can't be a force to be reckoned with. And you can't dominate if you don't know how to win. Right? If you're not being successful, because anybody will come over and they will run you out of business. Look at all of the companies, the Radio Shacks, right? You can look at restaurants that have gone out of business. You can look at the one-hit wonders that out of singers and rappers and different artists who they're gone. Why? Because they didn't dominate. They had one good thing in them, and that's all that they could produce. We can't be the one-hit wonders. We have to be the people that become the legends, that for generations, even when people weren't born, you know about me, because I am a force to be reckoned with. I dominate. I do this. This is what I do. And can't anybody take that from me, right? All right. So success is equally important to a person's sense of self. It promotes confidence, imagination, and a sense of security, and emphasizes the significance of making a contribution. Just think about it. How much better do you feel after you've reached a goal? How much better do you feel? It's kind of like, yes, like I can do this. I can go on. Like, give me the next thing. Like, I'm ready. I'm a beast. What? I'm a force to be reckoned with. Yes. And so, exactly, they run out of business. So listen, you have to make sure that you understand that success is important. It's not okay for you to set a goal and just be like, okay, well, since I didn't hit it, then we'll just lower our target, as we talked about last night. So, and instead of going after, let's say you wanted to sell 5 bottles of water, but you didn't reach that goal. So you're like, oh, well, since I sold 3, I'll just kind of keep it there because I know that I can do that. No, challenge yourself. Push yourself. Okay. So he says that people who are unable to provide for their families and their future put themselves and their families at risk. People who aren't successful can't buy goods and services. This can cause an economy to slow down and taxes to diminish, which will then negatively impact funds for schools, hospitals, and public services. About this time, some will say, but success is not everything. And of course, it isn't everything. Yet I always wonder what point people are trying to make with this statement. Then he says, when someone in my seminar says this to me, I often respond by asking something along the lines of, are you trying to diminish the importance of something you haven't been able to attain? That is a huge problem for us, guys, is that we begin to diminish the things that we aren't able to attain. So just going back to this example of the bottled waters, if you're trying to sell 5, but since you couldn't do 5, you settled on 3. And you're like, okay, well, I'll do 3, but 3's not good enough to pay your bills. 3's only good enough to help you to struggle, right? And so that's why you have to continue to push and not diminish, because then once you're struggling, then that means your children are struggling. Now you're teaching your children how to struggle. Your children are going to teach their children how to struggle. And now you have a people who were just struggling. Right? And so I look at even being in Puerto Rico, and when I was reading this and just thinking about, when you can't have success and people aren't able to bounce back, not saying that Puerto Rico will not bounce back, or even I look at countries like Haiti. We've gone and we've done missions there, right? And they're a third world country. But because there hasn't been certain levels of success, that's why they stay in the position of being third and second world countries, right? And so then when disaster hits and they're not able to bounce back as they need to, then it becomes an issue where they don't have the goods and services that they need. People still have not gone back to work. And Hurricane Maria was months ago. And so because of that, they can't go back to work. They don't have the money that's being generated in their economy. And because of that, people are leaving Puerto Rico. There are some people who are now having trouble getting out of Haiti, but that's neither here nor there. Do you understand my point? Is that when things begin to diminish, and when we diminish our goals, then things will stop. Things will begin to cease. They will no longer exist. And so thinking about the statistic now that 1.2 million people are expected to leave Puerto Rico, leaving mainly the elderly there on the island, and that's already the case. So it's going to be even more so the case now that the hurricane has come, which means their economy will not be pumping. Their economy will not be as effective, as successful as it needs to be in order to rise to the top and have a level of success. And so am I saying that Puerto Rico is going to become a distinct people? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is they're going to have a tough time. Why? Because there are certain levels of success that has not been reached. So you have to ask yourself that, are you creating goals and success in your life so that you can expand and grow, not just for you, but for your family, but for your friends, for the people who are around you, for people you don't even know, because we are all depending on each other to be successful so that we can have the life that we need to live, right? Common sense is not common. No, not sure what the no was. Having the courage, sorry, I wasn't looking down at the camera. Having the courage, determination, and will, and becoming the person you believe you were meant to be. Absolutely. And so we have to think about all of these things, right? And so he then goes on to say, in conclusion, that get real. Regardless of whatever goals you're trying to attain, success is absolutely critical. If you quit caring, then you quit winning. Quit winning long enough and you will just plain quit. You will give up. You won't reach your goals. And then you will just be at a place of desolation in your life. So that's chapter 3 of the 10X rule, talking about success is important, all right? And what is success? So the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. If this was of any benefit to you, make sure you share this video. That's going to allow your friends and your family to benefit, but then also get you entered into a drawing to win free products, gift cards, and things of that nature. And then also make sure you drop a 1 or 2 if you were watching this live, and or I guess really drop a 2 if you're at it at this point, to let me know if you were catching this on replay or not. So guys, that is my time. Camille, Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love, spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Good night.